Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam, ala rasulillah. So I know it's been a couple weeks since we last had a session, and so we all might be a little rusty, but I thought there would be two main things I would like to do today. One is I would actually just like to go and read through some of the Risala, because I know we've been doing a lot of exercises, drills, and that kind of thing, and that we actually haven't really read through a portion of the Risala in a little while. So one, does everybody still have the actual printout of the Risala that we had? If not, then, inshallah, I can always if you need that, I can print this out. But there should be a copy that looks something like this. Should just say at the top, right, the Risala of Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani. If you don't have it, then I will just go ahead and print out some copies for you, just to save time, and then you'll have it with you. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'll print one extra. Double-sided print. Okay. Then, while that's printing, the other, as I've given you list number 4, that's the handout that you just got. And we can take a quick look at that just as an overview before we get to it. So this one, I did something a little bit different. So I gave you a list of 10 verbs. So you have what? al-Qā'imatu al-Rābi'atu li-'ashrati af'ālin muta'allatin ajwaf. Ajwaf. So this is going to be al-Qā'imatu al-Rābi'ah, the 4th list. Li-'ashrati af'ālin, of what? 10 verbs that are muta'alla, right? That are weak but particular. Ajwaf. Ajwaf meaning that are hollow. So if you look at the list of the 10 verbs, you will see that it says what? Kana, ba'a, thaba, qala, zada, khafa, mata, qama, nama, and saba. So as you can tell, there's 10 verbs, and they all have a weak letter in the middle. And so this is these types of verbs, we call them, they are mu'talla, but they're also ajwaf. Ajwaf means hollow. Why are they hollow? Because the root letter in the middle is either going to be, in terms of the jadr, right, in terms of the root of it, is either a waw or a ya. Either a waw or a ya. So for instance, you take a common we will know, qala, he said. Qala, its root is qaf, waw, lam. Right? Qaf, waw, lam is the root of qala. And so for instance, you can say a saying is a qawl. Right, a saying, right? So to take the verb from that, a qawl. So what, you have a waw as the the waw as the middle letter. So verbs that have as their middle letter, most words in Arabic have what? 3 letters as their root. And so if you take one that has the middle letter, and I usually write this as what? Fa, ayn, and lam. That's what we usually use to make examples. Let me get my pens out here. The ayn, when the ayn in that is a wow. So when we want to write examples, right, we use these 3 letters. Fa, ayn, and lam. So in the case of our root of qaf, waw, and lam, right, we have qawl. And from that we get the madin of, right, qala, he said. The root is a waw. So for those that are ajwaf, for those that are ajwaf, it means that the ayn is going to either be a waw or a ya for its middle letter. And so those are going to take a certain kind of conjugation, and they will be very formulaic. Yes?
Just for vision, do you have another pen that you can use that may have a...
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, why is this so bad? Let's see, what do we got? Let's see here. I'll try. I mean, I'll have to maybe get some better pens next week.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay, sure. Let me just, like this? All right. Let me just make sure our camera then is, yeah, okay, should be able to make that out. Okay, so, and this one is almost dead. So I gave you this list of 10 verbs. We're going to work specifically on those in this list, dealing with the ones that have a weak, hollow vowel in the middle. And so with qala, oh, that's much better. Hang on to this one. You have like nama and qama and zada, right? And so they're going to take a similar kind of conjugation. If I want to say that I said, what do I say? Qala is he said. What if I want to say I said? Right? Qultu. Qultu. What if I want to say that I stood up? To stand up is qama. But if I want to stand up, if I said I stood up, what would I say? Exactly. Qumtu. So, as you'll see, they will follow some similar patterns. And so what I did is I gave you, when we get to this, we'll go through, I gave you 10 example sentences in different voicings. But then, as a change, I gave you 10 sentences that are actually either 10 ayat or they're a mixture of 10 ayat and a hadith. So let's look at number 1 and 2. So in number 1, right? So this is al-ayatu wal-ahadithu muqabila, right? These are the corresponding ayat and ahadith. So for number 1, it says, وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ سَرَابًا. وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ. Right? So if you look at the actual first sentence, it says what? كَانَتْ لِي تجربة مفيدة في العمل الجديد. So كانت is corresponding to the first word, the first verb in our list of kana. But here we're doing it as kanat, right? It's going to be feminine. So likewise, in our first ayah, what? وَصُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ سَرَابًا. So that's how it's going to kind of work, right? In number 2, it's what? بِعْتُ الْكِتَابَ لِصَدِيقِي بِثَمَنٍ مُنَاسِبٍ. And then it's going to correspond to رَحِمَ اللَّهُ رَجَلًا سَمْحًا إِذَا بَاعَ. So the second verb in our list here is ba'a, meaning to sell. So that's how it'll work, right? You'll have 10 sample example sentences, And then in the corresponding ayat and hadith, it will also feature that same verb in there as well. So I tried to, as best as I could, take some of the ayat from like Juz' Amma, because I know that's more commonly familiar to people, but it wasn't always possible. And so there will also be the corresponding verse, so you can look it up, like Surah An-Naba, verse 20, or in the case of the hadith, رحم الله رجلا سمحا إذا باع وإذا اشتراه وإذا اقتضاه, right, from Sahih al-Bukhari, and then there's the number. So you can easily look it up if you want to reference the hadith later on online or something like that. So we'll go over these in a few, but I wanted to take a moment and actually read some from the Risala of Ibn Abi Zayd, because it's been a while since we've done that. And I want to get in a little warm up and just get some muscle memory going. So let's start with Ruh, inshallah, and you can read the introduction, and then you can stop with the second paragraph, which ends in alayhi aziman. So read from the beginning to there. مقدمة.
قال أبو محمد عبد الله
عبد الله
بن أبي زيد القيرواني رضي الله عنه
وأرضاه
الحمد لله الذي ابتدى الإنسان
ابتدأ. It's a past tense verb. ابتدأ.
ابتدأ الإنسان.
إنسان what though? إنسان. نعم. بنعمته.
وصوره في الأرحام بحكمته وأبرزه إلى رفقه وما يسر له من رزقه.
نعم.
وعلمه ما لم يكن يعلم وكان
فضل الله
عليه عظيما.
نعم. Very good. Okay, Ishaq, starting with وَنَبَّهَهُ بِآثَارِ
بآثار
صنعته. There's a sukun on the noon.
صنعته وأعذر إليه على سنة المرسلين
على ألسنة على ألسنة
ألسنة
نعم.
ألسنة المرسلين
خيرتي. الخيارات
الخيرة
الخيارات. So al-khiyarati. Yeah, it's a little tricky.
الخيار الخيارات من خلق خلقه
خلقه. نعم.
فهذا من وقتي من
فهدا. نعم.
من
Not min, but fahada, which means therefore he guided not from, but he guided
ما
who? Exactly, right. Fahada man.
فهذا من وقته
Man waffaqahu. Man so I even wrote the shadda in there for you. So waffaqa is a past tense, right? Man waffaqahu.
من وفقه بفضله وأضل من فضله
وأضل.
وأضل من.
Yes, because adalla is what? Fi'l madin. So we're looking for who's going to be misguided. فأضل من.
وأضل من قبله
خذله. It's also going to be fi'l madin. خذله. خذله.
قبله
بعدله.
ويسر المؤمنين لليسر
ويسر المؤمنين لليسرى.
لليسرى وشرح صدورهم
Think about it. شرح ما معنى شرح؟ شرح أولا هو فعل. نعم. وفعل ماض. شرح. Therefore, if it's a past tense verb, أين المفعول به? Where's going to be the direct object? So وشرح صدورهم. That's going to be your direct object. It's going to receive هو قام على الفعل شرح. It's going to receive the action of being expanded. شرح ألم نشرح لك صدرك. Did Allah Ta'ala not expand the sadr of the Prophet ﷺ by revealing the Quran to him? Right? So sharaha means to expand. But also sharaha can mean like a sharh of a book. It can mean to, we call it to make a commentary or an explanation. But in a way, what are you doing when you commentate on a book? You're opening it up you're expanding upon it, right? So it means to expand, right? So sharaha sudurahum.
وشرح صدوره للذكرى فآمنوا بالله
فآمنوا بالله بحرف جار And then just like above, we had, so a couple things to point out here very quickly. In the beginning of your paragraph, وَنَبَّهُهُ بِآثَارِ صَنْعَتِهِ وَأَعْذَرَ إِلَيْهِ على ألسنة المرسلين. ألسنة جمع لسان. لسان المفرد. ما هو اللسان؟ What is ما معنى لسان? ما هو اللسان? Tongue. So al-jama' al-sina. Al-sinatun. So in this case we have what? فَآمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ بِأَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. That's what they believed in Allah Ta'ala with. The other part is, this is the tendency of the ulama, because they do this for eloquence, and then they also do it to make it easier to memorize. So, for instance, وَيَسَّرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لِلْيُسْرَى وَشَرَحَ صُدُورَهُمْ لِلذِّكْرَى. It's rhyming, right? So, look for the patterns like yusra, dhikra, yusra, dhikra. ويسر المؤمنين لليسرى وشرح صدورهم للذكرى فآمنوا بالله بألسنتهم. That's what they used to make their belief with, was their ألسنة. Okay. فآمنوا بالله نعم ناطي نعم قا but قلب المفرد وما هو الجمع قلوب قو مضمومة ضمة قلوب بقلوبهم. Just like before, how did they believe? بألسنتهم. And what? وبقلوبهم. وبقلوبهم مخلصين نعم أتتهم أتت لأنها مؤنث, right? بصيغة المؤنث أتت, والتاء الثاني ساكن, right? The second ta ساكن. لماذا؟ المؤنث. وبما فتت به رسوله مش رسله, فهم مرفوع, فأتت به رسله. Here's the clue. So we said what? أتى. ما معنى أتى؟ أتى فعل وهو ماض, ولكن ما معنى أتى؟ أتى means what? هذا هو فعلنا أتى. ما معنى أتى؟ That's أعطى, to come or like arrive. ولكن في هذا السياق, in this context, هذا الفعل في صيغة المؤنث. So أتت ولكن في جملتنا, in our sentence, ما هي مؤنث كذلك. In our sentence, what is also feminine? The question is, who's coming, or rather, in this case, came, because it's what? Maldin, it's past tense. What came? Normally, we're used to an order of what? Ism and fi'l. But, right, we're used to this order. Ism, thumma, fi'l. Like, qala Ishaq. This is the order we're used to sentences being in. First, you have your noun, then, first you have your verb. Sorry, I got this mixed up. First, you have your verb, right? You have your fi'l, thumma, your ism. Now, what we're used to is like this. Qala Ishaq. Ishaq said something, something, something. But in this case, right, we have atat bihi. So we got something in the middle here, right? Bihi. What is it that is, we said this means to come. Literally it means it came, she came, or it came, right? Something feminine came. But what comes after bihi? What are the two things that come after fi jumla? Al-shay al-thani, right? What are the two things that come after bihi? Al-awwal, not rasul. Rasul, mufrad wa mudhakkar. Right? Rasul. No, you said rasul. But that's not the word we have. What do we have? Rasul. You're saying Rasul. When al-waw? Ma fish waw. What do we have? What's the exact word we have? No. Risala. هذه رسالة. No. We don't have Rasul and we don't have Risala. What's the exact word that we have there? Spell it out on your page. What's the الحرف الأول ما هو؟ را ثم طيب رسل, right? مش رسول ومش رسالة, right? عندنا رسل جمع رسول, right? It's the plural. And therefore, this kind of plural, is it a sound plural or not a sound plural? It can't be. If it's sound, where did the waw go? Remember, the definition of a sound plural means that what? You add una, ina. We don't have rasuluna or rasulina. We have rusul. So it's not sound, because where did the waw go? It disappeared. Right? Just like al-kalimat al-thaniya. What's the second word there that we have after rusul? مش كتاب. هذا كتاب. ما عندنا. Spell it out again. We have what? الحرف الأول كاف. الحرف الثاني شو؟ ثم باء. مش كتب. كتب فعل. هذا اسم. كتاب المفرد. ما هو الجمع للكتاب؟ كتب. رسل. وهذان بني على نفس الوزن. They're built on the same form. They're built on the same صيغة, right? So you have رسول and كتاب في المفرد. ولكن الوزن هنا فعل. Right? This is a form for making certain types of plurals. So you take kitab and you put it on the wazn of fu'l. What do you get? Kutub, right? You take rasul, and then look, the singular form, kitab and rasul, they don't have the same sigha, they don't have the same pattern, right? Kitab and rasul, they're not the same. But they do use, in this case, the same form for their plural. So we have, just as we had kitab to kutab, if we take rasul and take the huruf asliya and we put it here, what do we get? No, you're saying rasul, mafish wow. Rusul, 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 right. So, they are also hadani al-fa'al fil jumla. These two things are going to be what? The actors in the sentence. They are the things that have come. Right? So if we go to our sentence, وَبِمَا أَتَتْ بِهِ. مَا هِيَ أَتَتْ الرُّسُلُ وَالْكُتُبُ. Or specifically, رُسُلُهُ يعني رُسُلُ اللَّهِ وَكُتُبُ اللَّهِ. صحيح؟ فما أتت به رسله وكتبه عاملين. طيب. So let's go back to وبقلوبهم مخلصين and then to the end. No, أتتهم, yep, أتتهم به. Now, you're tempted to say Rasul, but mafish wow. Rusul. Rusul. Rusuluhu. Not Rusuluhu. Rusuluhu. Like try to jam it all together really quick with no long vowels. Everything is a short vowel. No, that sounds like the other dude working on Captain Kirk's ship. Captain, there was what? Ensign Sulu and Rusuluhu. No, we're talking about Rusuluhu. This is not Star Trek, right? Rusuluhu. Listen to how I'm saying. There's a difference between Rasul. You're saying Rusuluhu. I'm saying Rusuluhu. The accent is on the very first. Rusuluhu. Yes. Rusuluhu wa kutubuhu. Not kutubuhu. Kutubuhu.
وَبِمَا أَتَتْهُمْ بِهِ رُسُلُهُ.
Rusuluhu. You're saying Rusuluhu. It is Rusuluhu. Rusuluhu. So you want to make the accent like if you're playing like. No, you're going. Right? You got that syncopation. You're like trying to do some Art Blakey type stuff, right? It's Rusuluhu. You want to think about it. It's like a German march versus like, an Art Blakey drum solo, right? Rusuluhu. And Kutubuhu. Yeah. You're saying Rusuluhu, but it's Rusuluhu. Can you not hear the difference? No. Okay, well, we'll work on it. All right. Alhamdulillah. We'll continue. So, أتت به وأتتهم به رسله.
وبما أتتهم به رسله.
Yes.
وكتبه.
نعم.
عاملين.
صحيح.
وتعلموا.
نعم.
ما علمهم.
صحيح.
ووقفوا.
نعم.
عندما عندما حد لهم.
حد لهم. صحيح.
وَاسْتَغْنُوا وَاسْتَغْنُوا
واستغنوا.
و
So you can say wa istaganu, but if you want to make the wasla, because that particular alif has no hamza, so it's more correct to carry the a or the alif sound or the fatha sound from the waw over into the sin. And the sin, of course, has sukun, right? So we have wa and then istaganu, right? This alif has no hamza, right? So it's just going to allow this to come right to the sin. However, the sin is what? غير حركة. It doesn't, it has this. So واستغنوا
واستغنى واستغنى
now
بما أحن له
amma. I just didn't write it for you, but it's technically, right, an plus ma. And so in Arabic, we make a conjunction. We go, right, with a shadda. But, I left it out on purpose. So, amma
عليه
alayhim. Right. So, amma, you will read in the Quran, Subhanallahi wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. Subhanallahi wa ta'ala amma. An, ma ma'ana an? What does an mean? About, concerning, regarding, on, such and such. So, Subhanallahi, Allah Ta'ala is free and above. Amma yushrikun. Yushrikun al-kufar. Yushrikun al-mushrikeen. What do the mushrikeen? They what? They make shirk. So Allah Ta'ala is subhanallahi wa ta'ala amma. Allah Ta'ala is above and free of what they are making shirk, or amma yasifun, what they are describing. So amma is a conjunction of an and ma. Good. Okay. Rob. Amma ba'd.
أما بعد أعننا الله وإياك على
رعايتي ودائعه. So this one here is actually an idafa. So al-mudaf ri'aya wida'i rida'ihi. God. Wida'ihi. That's a wadi'a, right? So this second word, wada'ihi, is the plural is wada'i', and its singular is wadi'a. So it's a little confusing. Yeah. So the meaning of wadi'a, so for the first one, ri'aya. What's a ri'aya? Do you know what a ra'in is? All of the anbiya were ra'in at some point, or generally. They shared that in common. Shepherds. So a ra'in, what does a shepherd do? He shepherds. What does a shepherd do? He safeguards, he protects, he guides, right? Therefore, think of now this as a verbal noun, right? It's a noun conjuring up that action. Safeguarding. Safeguarding. A wadi'a, right? If we go back to like the singular of it, wadi'a. Wadi'a means a trust. So wada'i' is trusts. So ri'ayati wada'i'ihi, safeguarding his trusts, right? And of course, who is his in the his trusts? Who is he here referring to? Right, because he says what? A'anana Allahu wa iyyaka. May Allah Ta'ala, may He aid us and you in what? Safeguarding, right? Ala ra'ayati wada'ihi, safeguarding His trusts. وحفظ
ما
أودعنا. So أودع is a verb. It's a بني على الوزن أفعل, like Islam is أسلم, right? أسلم is the verb, Islam is the masdar. So the verb here is أودع. أودع, which is also related to wadi'a.
أودنا
Min.
شرعية.
So if we just had, look at, this is, he's also doing this to like teach you patterns and whatnot. So we have the word wada'i. Wada'i. And we said its singular is wadi'a. Now, we have a similar pattern, shara'i. We have shara'i, wada'i, shara'i. If wada'i becomes to wadi'a, if we reduce shara'i to its singular, what do you think it's going to be? There you go. Shari'a. Wadi'a, shari'a. Wada'i', shara'i'. So we're accustomed to thinking of the sharia as a singular thing, because we say the sharia, right? But when you want to talk about different acts of the sharia, different things we have to comply with or whatnot, you can also then refer to them in the plural, the shara'i'. Make sense? Okay, so let's try again from the beginning. Amma ba'd.
أما بعد أعننا
أعاننا
الله وإياك على رعايتي
Wada'ihi. This one is hard to pronounce. Wada'ihi, because you have like e, he. Wada'ihi. Good.
ما أودعنا وأودعنا
أودعنا
دعنا
أودعنا
وأودعنا من شرائعه
شرائعه
فإنك سألتني
فإنك سألتني. سأل ما معنى سأل؟ Yeah. So سألت, right? سأل حرفا he asked. ولكن سألت means what?
you asked.
You asked. But if I say سألتني, you asked me. Right. So فإنك, the hint is the إنك, right? You سألتني
فإنك سألتني أن
أكتب close. So normally, yes, كتب, right? كتب هذا فعلنا. كتب meaning literally he wrote, right? أكتب بمعنى what? أنا أكتب. هو كتب وأنا أكتب. The difference here is what? N. N always makes the last letter mansoob. So, while normally that is correct, that it would be aktubu, when we have the presence of an before it, it's going to change the i'rab and make the last harf a fatha. So, an aktuba. An aktuba. So you asked me an to aktuba. You asked me to write. Laka, for you. So go back to فإنك.
فإنك سألتني أن أكتب لك
جملة 10, because it's going to be what's being written. It's the مفعول به. Mm-hmm. مختصرة 10. So جملة 10 تاء المربوطة منصوب. وكذلك مختصرة 10. نعم.
جملة مختصرة
صحيح.
من واجبي
Very good. أمور هي جمع أمر. أمر مفرد. أمر شو? أمر can mean a couple things. What's one thing that an أمر can be? What's another thing that an أمر can be? Yes, right. الديانة. Right? But it's related to the same meaning. Worldly affairs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, actually, no. Diana, that's not true. Diana is related to deen. Dunya, obviously, is dunya. But Diana is related to deen, so religious affairs. Sorry, I had a temporary senior moment.
أمور الديانة مما أنطق به.
Yeah, this is تعتقده. تعتقده. Yeah, no, sometimes it can be a little bit brutal.
أنطق به.
Because it's a ayn. So تعتقده. Do you see it?
I think I'm missing something. So I'm seeing Tay Noon Dal Paw.
So, not unless there's a typo. So, it should read, فإنك سألتني أن أكتب لك جملة مختصرة من وجوب أمور الديانة مما تنقط به الألسنة وتعتقده. Is there a typo maybe, or it should be spelled wa and then ta, ain, ta, qaf, dal, hu.
Oh, I think we're in different spots. Yeah. So that would, yeah, because he's talking about right.
Oh, you're way over there. He's still at the beginning.
Oh, where are you at?
Mima tan.
Oh, tanqitu. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I thought you were at taqiduhu. Yeah. Tanqitu bihi. Mm-hmm.
Tanqitu
Bihi.
bihi. Tanqitu bihi.
And this is the plural of lisan.
Al-Sinatu.
So al-alsina. Al-alsina. I know it's al-alsina.
Al-Alsina.
Right? Or technically al-alsina ma. Al-alsina tu, because it's part of the subject.
Bihi al-Alsinatu. Wa ta'taqaduhu.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. وتعتقده. You have to make that sukoon on the ayn. So تعتقده.
Wa ta'aqiduhu.
نعم. القلوب تعتقده القلوب.
Al-qulubu. Wa ta'ammaluhu.
وتعمله.
وتحمله الجوارح.
جوارح.
جوارح.
ما معنى جوارح؟ Limbs, your limbs. Yeah.
الجوارح وما يتصل.
يتصل. So اتصل. اتصل. هذا هو الفعل في الماضي. So its root is waw, صاد, and lam. This is a weak letter. The waw is a weak letter. So when we construct it on the form of if, when we construct it on the form of ifta'ala, if ta'ala, if ta'ala, this waw is going to drop out, and the ta will take a sukun. Take a shadda. So normally, you have verbs like you take, for instance, kashafa. Kashafa. You have ik, ta, shafa. So ik, ta, shafa. Right, where the first letter of the root stays whole. But this waw, being a weak letter, we don't like it. So it disappears, and the ta is doubled, takes a shadda. So it becomes itta sa la. Itta sa la. So in the mudari', in the present tense, يتصل اتصل يتصل
وما يتصل فاللوج
بال.
باللجوب.
Right, if you take away the B and the alif and lam, what's the word you're left with? No, take away the B and the alif and lam, you're left with what? Waw, alif, jim, and ba. What's that? We talk about something as what? Wajib. Wajib, long vowel, because don't forget the alif. Wajib. What is wajib? When something's wajib, what does it mean? Required, mandatory, right? So, وَمَا يَتَّصِلُ بِالْوَاجِبِ بِالْوَاجِبِ. Now,
وما يتصل بالواجب من ذلك من
well, not als, because seen is a harf shamsiyah. So we said,
أسنان.
no. So the word we have there, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ إِسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. The Prophet ﷺ, in him is an excellent example. Now Allah calls this the uswa, or as Imam Nafi relates, the iswa. But what do we commonly refer to it as? Sunnah. We say sunnah, but that's not correct. Sunnah. Sin nun with a shadda, ta'un marbuta. Sunnah. Sunnah al-mufrad. وجمعه ما هو الجمع? I'll give you a hint. The shadda is like the doubling of something. So if we have a shadda over our noon, if we took away the shadda, what would this essentially mean? There's two noons. Because if you want to look it up in the dictionary, not Hans Ver, but a true Arabic dictionary, you would look up what? Seen, noon, and what? Noon. Seen, noon, noon, right? So our plural is sunan. 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 Have you heard of a hadith collection called a sunan? Sunan ibn Majah. Sunan ibn Majah, Sunan Abi Dawood, right? These are collections of what? Sunnah. But because they're a bunch of sunnahs, they are sunan, right? So this is what he's talking about here. What? He says what? This is وَمَا يَتَّصِرُ بِالْوَاجِبِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ مِنَ السُّنَنِ.
من السنن من.
And he's telling you that there's more than one kind of sunnah, right? Min sunani. So from the sunnahs, min, what's the first one?
موكله
Mu
مؤكدها.
akkidiha. Muakkidiha. Have you heard of a sunnah muakkada? Sunnah muakkada means an emphasized sunnah. You ever hear Arabs say like akid? You're talking with an Arab and say, yeah, akid, akid. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so it's a common phrase. We'll say, no, akid, akid. Sure, of course, of course. I mean, it's emphasized, without a doubt. So there are some things that the Prophet ﷺ did that are sunnah mu'akkada, like praying the raka'atain qabla al-fajr. Like this is something that was well known and heavily emphasized by him, and he talked about the great reward for doing so, on and on. So هذه الركعتين سنة مؤكدة.
Is there like a shadda over the hamza? Mu'akkada?
Not over the hamza, but over the kaf. مؤكدة. Yeah, مؤكدة. The jadr is alif, kaf, dal. So akkada is bunya al wazni fa'ala, akkada yu'akkidu, mu'akkad, mu'akkad, right? Something is mu'akkad. So, من سنن من السنن من مؤكدها. لماذا ها? Why does it say min mu'akkidiha? Why is it feminine? What's feminine that precedes it that we're talking about?
Is it the
Not just the sunnah, but the sunan. Because the word sunan is plural, right? It's a broken plural. Al-mufrad sunnah. We don't say sunnatuni, sunnatini, right? We have sunnatun, and then the jama' is sunan, right? Therefore, it's considered to be a broken plural. And so its plural is going to be feminine. And so all verbs and all adjectives that agree with it must be plural. Feminine. It must be feminine, and therefore the pronouns that reference it must also be feminine. So min mu'akkidiha, min mu'akkidi sunan. Wa nawafiliha. We had the word, which one was it? Jawarih, right? Do you remember the word jawarih that we had? Right? It came just right before it in the sentence. Yes. So look at the word jawarih, and then now look at our word nawafil. Right? So we said jawarih just before he mentioned the word jawarih. Jawarih. Right? Jawarih, we said, is what? Limbs. And so, what is a limb? A limb is a jariha. Jariha. Now, our word that we have now is what? Nawafil. Can you guess what the singular is? Use the same. Nafila. Nafila. Nafila and jariha, these are the singulars. Jawarih, nawafil. Can you hear and see the pattern? Jawarih, nawafil. A-I. Right? That's the pattern. Right? So the pattern is fa-a. Oh, God, I can't write today. Fa-a-il. Fa-a-il. That's the pattern. So you take the root and you put it on the pattern of fa'a'il, and that's how you get it. So, jariha, jawarih. Nafila, nawafil. So he's talking about there are sunan that are what? Mu'akkadiha wa nawafiliha. So there are some sunnahs that are considered a nafila. Meaning, they're a sunnah, but they're not emphasized. The Prophet ﷺ was known to do it sometimes and known not to do it sometimes. And he said, there is a reward, obviously, but not a great reward. And so there are lesser sunan that we describe as nawafil.
I have a question. So, the lamb, it takes kesra.
The lamb. Well, normally nawafil would be what? Nawafilun. But what precedes nawafil? Well, directly preceding it is a waw. Right? Wa nawafiliha. But that waw is the waw of atif. It can carry grammatical rulings that preceded it and apply to it, especially if it's considered to be, from a linguistic point of view, kind of part of the same stuff that's going on. So what precedes it? Mu'akkidiha. What precedes mu'akkid? Min, harf jar. Right. So it's like saying min mu'akkidiha wa min nawafiliha. But we don't like to keep doing that in Arabic. We don't like to say wamin, 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 wamin. That just gets a little redundant. So what we do is we say wamin, and then anything after that that would also take that same application, then the min we say is mahdhuf. We just omit it, and the waw of atif substitutes for that. We don't need to keep saying wamin, 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 wamin. طيب, so okay. Min sunani, min mu'akkidiha wa nawafiliha, what? And? Raga ibiha. Notice these all have, what? They all have the same, jawarih, nawafil, raga'ib. These are all going to share a same plural pattern of fa'a'il. What's raghba? Raghba is desire. Right? Things, there are certain things from the sunnah that are emphasized. Some things that are not quite so emphasized, and some things that are desired or are considered of the raghiba. Wa shay'in
min al-adab.
Now there's a med over the alif and adab, so it's actually adabi. So adab, what is adab? No, that's adab. But depending on who your parents are, when they teach you adab, it could be a form of punishment, right? So adab is etiquette, right? And therefore, the plural is adab. Just like sunnah and sunan, we have adab and adab. So there are many etiquettes of the Prophet ﷺ. Adabi.
Minha.
Jumalin. Jumal is the jama' of jumla. Jumla is one, like you can think of a sentence, jumla, and jumal is sentences. But also, a jumla can be a statement, like a qawl or a lafaz. So he's saying, like, I ask God to assist us and you in adhering to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And therefore, you asked me to write this book, and I have done so, that's condensed, that will contain many different things, of which a portion of it will be what? The sunnah of the Prophet. And amongst that will be the sunnahs, the sunan, that will be mu'akkada, that will be nafida, that will be raghiba. And also, I would teach you some of the adab of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, as well as some of his jumal, yani ahadith. I would teach you some of his statements. Minha jumalin min usuli, min usuli. Right, usul al-fiqh. I'm sure you've heard of usul al-fiqh. Right, so this book is also going to contain foundational principles about the religion. وَجُمَلٍ min usul al-fiqh. So you're gonna learn a little bit about usul al-fiqh. Wa funun. So we have qalb, All right, we have our word qalb. What's the plural of qalb? Qulub. We have a word here, fen, ma'a shadda, fen. Fen, as we said, this is going to be a doubling because of the shadda. If we want to put it upon the same wazn of fu'ul, our wazn here is fu'ul, fu'ul. Fen will be what? Funun. Very good. Funun. Funun. What's funun? What is a fen? That's fem with a meme. Right? So fen can be understood as a couple things. It could be an art. But just as art, is art technically just like imagination, or does art also, does it involve technique? Does it involve craft? Does it involve study? Does it involve discipline? Right? When you are mutafannin, like when you are really an artist, not talking about your 5-year-old kid that's drawing with crayons in their class, right? Which, that's art too. But when we think of an artist, this is not a person that's just randomly doing stuff. What? They have spent time studying, disciplining, right? And therefore, he said, what? This work of mine that you asked me to write, it's going to contain all these things we just talked about. What? وَشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْآدَابِ. It will also include the character and the adab and the etiquette of the Prophet ﷺ, right? Minha wa jumalin. And it's going to contain statements min usul al-fiqh, from the foundational study of religious mechanics and rulings. What? Wa fununihi. And it's also going to talk about what is the art and the craft of usul al-fiqh. This will also be part of what the risala will be about. Ala,
madhab
according to, ala madhabi,
al-Imam Maliki
al-Imami Malik ibn Anas, or right, Anasin. So al-Imam Malik bin Anas.
Al-Imam Malik bin Anas rahmatullahi ta'ala wa tariya.
So it's not rahmatullah. Rahmatullah is fine to say, but rahmatullah, rahma is an ism. But as I said, when we want to make dua for somebody, you take a verb in the past tense, and it becomes, even though when you say like sallallahu alayhi wa sallama, it's a past tense verb, but when it's done in this way, it's like a dua, right? So you're asking, may Allah send salawat and taslim upon the Prophet. So in this case, it's actually rahimahu Allah. Rahima literally means he had mercy. But when you make it in the form of a dua, of a supplication, rahima is like, may Allah have mercy on him. So rahimahu Allah ta'ala.
Rahimahu Allah ta'ala.
Naam.
وطريقته.
وطريقته. Naam. So he's saying that all of this will be based upon the madhab of Imam Malik bin Anas, may Allah have mercy upon him. وطريقته. What's a tariqah? Yes. And this is not referring to a tariqah in the sense of like Sufiya. This is simply saying like there's the technical side of the madhab of Imam Malik, which means his students and the senior scholars of his, because remember, Ibn Abi Zayd is born much after, the death of Imam Malik, rahimahullah. So he's saying like, there's this thing called the madhab of Imam Malik. Of course, it includes the opinions and the writings and the statements of Imam Malik, but it also includes like, Abul Qasim and Suhnun and all these other great scholars and others that came after him. And so it will be according to the madhab and the general disposition or path of the madhab. This includes things like aqa'id, like creed. It includes fiqh, and it also includes the general disposition of the Andalusian Maliki school, because Imam Ibn Abi Zayd, rahimahullah, was from Andalus. So when he's saying here about the tariqah, it does include the school of Medina of Imam Malik, but also the latter-day scholars, and now also including those of Andalus. So, وطريقته مع
ما سهل
سهل. نعم سهل. سهل means ease. Sahala means to make ease. Right? Like on Saturdays we study the Tasheel لعلوم التنزيل of Ibn Juzay al-Maliki rahimahullah. His book is called At-Tasheel. Why does he call it At-Tasheel? It's the facilitating, the making easy of the study of tafsir. So there are many scholars have books called Tasheel of this and that. So Tasheel is just the masdar of Sahala. Bunya ala fa'ala with the ayn with a shadda in the middle, right? So Sahala, right? With to facilitate or make easy what? Sabila.
سبيل ما أشكل
أشكل is فعل ماض.
أشكل من ذلك من تفسير
تفسير الراسخين
الراسخين وبيان
وبيان المتفقهين المتفقهين. So we know fiqh, right? And therefore there is a verb when one does fiqh, both as a study, but also more importantly as a vocation, as a practitioner. We call this tafaqquh, tafaqquha. Therefore, the one that is a practicing jurist, you can also call them a mutafaqqih. والجمع متفقهون أو المتفقهين. صيغة صحيح. The جمع صحيح. Right? It's a plural. So متفقه, متفقهون أو المتفقهين. So he's saying that this will be according to the school of Imam Malik and the methodology and associated with that school, and easing any difficulties through the interpretation, right, or the understanding or the explanation. من ذلك من تفسير of who? الراسخين. A person who is rasikh, like Allah Ta'ala talks about the people in the Quran, rasikhuna bil ilm. Allah talks about in the Quran those that are firmly rooted in knowledge, soundly proficient, studied people. So ar-rasikhuna wa bayani, right? And according to the explanations, the bayan of the al-mutafaqqihin, of the jurists. That is what the risala is going to be about. Tamam? Okay. And then there should be one last sentence here. Oh no, and we'll go for Dawood. We'll. Ragibta. So he's saying, right? Lamma ragibta. So, as to your desire, fihi.
Okay. Fihi mean.
Ta'allum. Ta'allum, right, to teach. Ta'allum. So as regarding your desire, min ta'allumi dhalika, to teach that, right? Dhalika. Lil. Wildan. So a walad, what's a walad? Yeah, a child. But wildan is like what? Think of it as a plural. Right. No, children. So walad is like one child. Wildan is a type of plural is what to teach children. So regarding your desire to teach children,
But how do you say the word again then?
wildan.
Wildan.
Yeah, wildan. Yeah. So لما رغبت فيه من تعلم ذلك للولدان
Ima.
كما
Ama.
just as.
Ma. Ama.
So just like ta'allum, now it's also ta'allumuhum.
Hara.
Huruf. What's huruf?
Harufi.
Huruf is what?
Oh, the letter.
Yeah. So to what you want, just like you want to teach them the letters of what? Huruful ma? The huruf of what?
Oh, fi.
No. You see, right?
Down below the next word.
No. It should be. You should see Quran, right? كما تعلمهم حروف القرآن. You see Al-Quran?
Okay. Al-Quran.
Right.
Lis.
ليس
Liya.
ليسبقوا I'm sorry ليسبقا
Liyashqa.
إلى
Ila. Qawaw. Qawaw bi.
what's the plural of qalb? Qalb is the heart. قلوب, right? إلى قلوبهم.
Ila qulubihim. Mim. Fihami.
فهمي.
Fahmi.
Fahm is what?
Faham. Understand?
Yep.
Faham. Da.
Deen.
Deen. Deen. Allah.
Deen Illahi.
Deen Allahi wa shal wa. No. Washra.
So like we said, Sharia is the singular. Shara'ihi is the plural, right? So that they will understand Deen Illah wa shara'ihi and Allah's rulings.
Ma.
Yep, tur ja. Lahum. Barakah. So barakatuhu. So it will bring them blessings. وَتُحْمَدُ lahum. عاقبته. فأجبتك إلى ذلك. Yep, رجوته.
One more time.
رجوته.
رجوته.
لي your nafs, nafsi, li nafsi. Yep. Thawab, not shawab. Thawab.
Thawab.
Men. In this case, who? Men. Yep. علم, to teach. The one who teaches the deen of Allah. Deen Allahi. Da'a, to make dua or to call. Da'a ilayhi. Great. So, I'm going to go back to really quick to the top and read it through, and then we'll see if you guys have any questions. مقدمة. قالوا أبو محمد عبد الله ابن أبي زيد القيرواني رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. الحمد لله الذي ابتدأ الإنسان بنعمته وصوره في الأرحام وبحكمته وأبرزه إلى رفقه وما يسر له من رزقه وعلمه ما لم يكن يعلم وكان فضل الله عليه عظيما ونبهه بآثار صنعته وأعذر إليه على ألسنة المرسلين الخيرة من خلقه فهدى من وفقه بفضله وأضل من خذله بعدله ويسر المؤمنين لليسرى وشرح صدورهم للذكرى فآمنوا بالله بألسنتهم ناطقين وبقلوبهم مخلصين وبما أتتهم به رسله وكتبه عاملين وتعلموا ما علمهم ووفقوا عندما حد لهم واستغنوا بما أحل لهم عما عليهم. أما بعد، أعاننا الله وإياك على رعاية ودائعه وحفظ ما أودعنا من شرائعه، فإنك سألتني أن أكتب لك جملة مختصرة من واجب أمور الديانة مما تنطق به الألسنة وتعتقده القلوب وتعلمهم الجوارح وما يتصل بالواجب من ذلك من سنن من مؤكدها ونوافلها ورغائبها وشيء من الآداب منها جمل من أصول الفقه وفنونه على مذهب الإمام مالك بن أنس رحمه الله تعالى وطريقته، مع ما سهل سبيل ما أشكل من ذلك من تفسير الراسخين وبيان المتفقهين. لما رغبت فيه من تعلم ذلك الولدان كما تعلمهم حروف القرآن ليسبق إلى قلوبهم من فهم دين الله وشرائعه ما ترجى لهم بركاته وتحمد لهم عاقبته، وأجبتك إلى ذلك رجوته لنفسي ولك من ثواب من علم دين الله أو دعا إليه. واعلم أن خير القلوب أوعاها للخير وأرجى القلوب للخير ما لم يسبق الشر إليه، وأولى ما عني به الناصحون ورغب في أجره الراغبون. إيصال الخير إلى القلوب أولاد المؤمنين ليرسخ فيها وتنبيههم على معالم الديانة وحدود الشريعة ليرادوا عليها وما عليهم أن تعتقده من الدين قلوبهم وتعمل به جوارحهم، فإنه روي عن تعليم الصغار لكتاب الله يطفئ غضب الله، وأن تعليم الشيء في صغر كالنقش في الحجر، وقد مثلت لك من ذلك من ينتفعون إن شاء الله ويشرفون بعلمه ويسعدون باعتقاده والعمل به، وقد جاء أن يؤمروا بالصلاة ل7 سنين ويضربون عليها ل10 وفرق بينهم في المضاجع فكذلك ينبغي أن يعلموا ما فرض الله على العابد من قول وعمل وقبل بلوغهم ليأتي عليهم البلوغ وقد تمكن ذلك من قلوب وسكنت إليه أنفسهم وأنست بما يعملون به من ذلك جوارحهم فقد فرض الله سبحانه على قلبي عملا من الاعتقادات وعلى الجوارح الظاهرة عملا من الطاعات وسأفصل لك ما شرطت لك ذكره بابا ليقرب من فهم متعلميه إن شاء الله تعالى وإياه نستخير وبه نستعين ولا حول ولا قوة بالله العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد نبيه وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Alhamdulillah. So, any questions about, I think it will be helpful if you can try to read through this just like a couple times a week, and that you'll become familiar both with the pronunciations and the other things. Like I said, the handout that I gave you today, it's one, so it depends. If you guys want to take like a quick pass through a few of the example sentences just to see how you feel with that. Otherwise, you're free to work on that through the week. And then, of course, use the Discord. You can put any of your questions. But I think you guys, alhamdulillah, did better, even though with the break, it seemed like there's a greater level of familiarity. So either you've been practicing or, inshallah, alhamdulillah, there's been some slow accretion of benefit. But any questions about anything? Do you feel like the example sentences that I gave you guys for the last several weeks, does it help a little bit when coming back to this? Does some of the vocabulary feel a little bit more familiar? Some of the patterns or some things that you would like to tweak some more? Anything I could help develop or whatnot? And again, just because we went over it once doesn't mean it has to sit there in the dustbin. Like you can pull all that stuff back out and kind of, go over it again. I had designed all of those example sentences in mind with being able to ultimately, read this text.
It's important.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful if we get the handout exactly like we're doing right now, because then we can go look up the words so that when we go through them, we're pretty familiar with the vocabulary, so we can make associations with how the words relate to each other. So we just, it's easier to follow.
Right.
Examples. So.
And when you go through, try to, even if you don't know what the word means, also, because, this obviously it's a language. It has a sonic quality to it. So listen for the, jawarih and the shara'i and the, dawa'i', right? Try to listen for or look for those similar patterns, even if you don't, I don't know what that word means, but you know what? It sounds like, and it looks a lot like this other word, because that is what's going to help you build up. That is literally sarf, right? It's like looking for the patterns and things, so that even it might not seem like it at first, but if you could just even recognize that this word sounds like it's built on a similar pattern as this word, that is very helpful. Because if you know that sharia and shara'i, like maybe this one will stick in your head. So you have sharia and then shara'i. Well, we know what sharia is. It's Allah's rulings, right? But because we're accustomed to hearing sharia as one word, and up until now, maybe we really haven't heard the word shara'i. But now that you know that Sharia is like in a general sense and Shara'i is more in a specific sense. He's like, I want to teach you the Shara'i of the deen of Allah. Now when you go and hear, Nawafil and Jawarih, I might not know what those words mean, but I do know that they are a plural. So I know I'm not dealing with a singular noun. I'm definitely dealing with a plural. And if I can reverse engineer shara'i back to sharia, well then just try to take a guess and again, just throw it in the Discord or bring it to class and ask hey, I saw this word. I felt it was built off of this form. Is it singular? Jariha from Jawari or Sharia, or Dawa'i is from Dawi'a. Am I right or wrong? Don't be afraid to make a mistake, but take those make those guesses to try to build up your intuition. Because if you don't know what the word means, but it's a broken plural, that means okay, well that's why the ha is here and not a hu, because it's feminine, because this is a broken plural. And therefore, any verbs associated, that's why it has a ta and not a ya, because it's feminine, right? So it will help to build up your pattern tracking, your ability to recognize patterns, which over time will definitely help to kind of help you digest what you're reading and break it down and make it a little bit more malleable, instead of just being completely befuddled by every individual word right on the page.
So in the Discord, I know there were some things posted. I just have to go through it, but is there for pattern recognition? So the ya, alif, nun, ta in front of a verb, like a present tense verb. So yashrabu. So he is drinking.
Yeah.
And so do you have or is there some website or something we can go to that have all of these patterns laid out?
I think I had and I can post it again. Let's see, because I know I had. It was in the Discord. Let's see here.
Does Discord lose dots?
No. Yeah, I'm opening it up right now. Let's see.
Commands. What can we replace with this? You have the verb, but then the ya, alif, nun, ta. Of course.
I'm going back through it. I know I had posted. Okay. Yeah. So to answer your question, back on the November 25th, I had posted a series of little color-coded handouts, right? So I was like, the wazn, fa'ala, and then it goes through the past tense and the present tense and the feminine and the masculine, right? So it is in there. You might just have to, scroll back up, because it's back in November that it was there. So that is there. And I think, like you said, you could probably Google some of this and find some,
A tool that I use is I take advantage of the PDFs that you provided, right? And I just use the PDF. I just use my tab, right? I'll mark through it and then I'll erase everything. I'll mark through it, then I'll erase everything, right? And what I'll try to do is just not put the haraka, but I'll also try to put my explanation of why the haraka is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And when I can't figure it out, or if I think I have it, what I'll do is I'll take what he's provided without the haraka, and I'll throw it in Chat GPT. And I'll say, give me the haraka, and then the implication of the haraka, and it does how he's breaking it down right now. Yeah. It gives a very precise explanation of why what is what, so you can so it validates your understanding, right?
Yeah.
Or it corrects your misunderstanding.
If there's those types of templates, short templates, as you moved out of forget that one now. I don't know if there's an area for just those templates as well that are showing where if you just remove this and add like you've been doing, but if we just had it in a template format of one section of the soft.
Yeah.
because I'm still struggling with the patterns of what's built on of 3 letters. I need to go back, and that's what I'm saying. There's a template for that, just so I can go back, keep looking at it, keep looking at it, keep looking at it.
Okay.
I have my notes, but then they're all disarray if things were just in one.
Sure. Yeah.
Organized. I'm sure there is somewhere.
You look like you have.
Basics of
Sure. Yeah.
foundational.
Okay. Yeah. You look like you were going to say something important. Oh, okay. You look like your eyes were searching. Okay. And even though I know not everybody is a practitioner of the madhab, actually Big Dawood had asked me. So I think what I'm going to do, because I haven't really taught the fiqh class in a little bit, is because I know that not everybody's interested in specifically following the Maliki madhab. So what I'm probably going to do is go back and re-record those lessons as shorter videos, and then I've created another separate section on the Discord. So for anybody that has particular questions related, I mean, you can also just put your basic fiqh questions in there, but I also just added that as well to the Discord. So, okay, alhamdulillah. Well, I guess we can pray. I have wudu, so miraculously, I don't know how that happened, but I somehow have wudu. And we managed to do it in under 4 hours. Alhamdulillah.
In under 4 And so can I borrow this for that one of those guys? You know, one of those guys that was borrowing your books.
Never to be seen again.